Hi, everybody. So today we are going to talk about our midterm portfolio. If you'd like to follow along with me, you can reach this by going to modules and then going to this week's module, and under readings, that's where you will find this packet. So instead of having a big midterm exam or an extra, essay or something like that, in our class, we do a portfolio for your midterm. And basically, what that is just a collection of the work that you've done so far for class. So, good news is you're not really doing a lot of extra work at all. Instead, what you're doing is just sort of showing your peers and then also me what progress you've made so far by the time you get to this point. So this is our midterm portfolio packet. First of all, you've got some fun memes to ease the pain of writing, because you will be doing just a little bit of writing. After that, we'll look at the portfolio prompt, and then I included a sample portfolio along with the rubric that I used to grade. So I know that even though our class doesn't have a midterm exam, you probably do have midterms in your other classes, so wishing you well with the studying for those things. I know they can be rough, but I believe in you. You got this. All right. So for our midterm portfolio, here's what you're going to be doing. First of all, you'll need to choose several learning habits, strategies, or practices that you've learned in class and talk about those. You're going to be giving some examples of how you have learned those things or how you've gotten better in those specific ways. And that's what you'll be talking about in your portfolio. And when you say that you've done something, like, for example, maybe you feel like you've gotten better with time management, then you can give an example of that and show how, you turned in an assignment on time. Or maybe you got better at not being so fearful of first drafts, and you got, more accepting of knowing that I can make a first draft and it won't be great, and I'm going to just turn that thing in and then take the time to get better and improve on that and turn in a much better, more revised final draft. That's another example. So we're going to be choosing those learning habits, strategies, different practices that we've gotten better at, and then you're going to talk about how you've been doing those things in your own work specifically. So here are the specifics of what your midterm portfolio is going to include. First of all, you'll have a 2-page reflective cover letter. And in that cover letter, that's where you're telling me about those different learning goals or practices or strategies that you've gotten better at from the beginning of the semester until now. Remember that this reflection should discuss your progress throughout the semester until now. So think about ways that you've grown as a reader, a writer, a thinker, a student, a person, and then talk about how that's evident in the writing samples that you're including. So after your 2-page cover letter, you're going to be including examples, and those are just going to be your essays that you've written so far. Name and give examples of these specific habits and strategies that you're doing well at. So specifically, talk about what you're doing better at, and also discuss how the examples from your previous writing projects, these are your essays, demonstrate that you're learning the things that we have, set out to learn according to the syllabus. I'd also like you to focus on moments, readings, assignments, or processes that you've, used or that have been important moments for you in class where you, really thought, hey, I did a good job at this, or you had kind of an aha moment where something clicked and started to make sense. So the goal here is to be as specific as you can. We don't want to say general things like I've gotten better at writing, but instead what I'd like you to do is to be specific and tell me in what ways you've gotten better at things. So instead of I've gotten better at writing, maybe I've become a lot more confident in my ability to write a first draft. or I've become more accepting of the revision process, and now I really do revise things and I go from a shitty first draft to a much better final draft. So be specific. After you have your 2-page cover letter, and this is where you're talking about all of these things that you've gotten better at throughout the semester, then you're going to include a rough draft and a final draft of one of the essays that you have already written for class. So you're not writing anything new for this section. You're just giving me a rough draft and then a final draft of essay 1 or essay 2. If you'd like to, you can definitely include both. Just make sure that I can see the rough draft and the final draft so that I can see your progress. Make sure that this is 7 full pages of your writing, and this does not include the works cited page, so be aware of that. So we've got 7 pages of drafts after these first 2 pages that are your cover letter. So far in the portfolio, we have one big document which has a 2-page reflective cover letter, and then you're going to copy and paste your rough draft of one of the essays that you've already written for class and the final draft of that same essay into this one big document. Okay? So you're arranging your portfolio so that your reflective cover letter is first, followed by your rough draft, and then your final draft. And we've got a sample student portfolio here so that you can see exactly what that looks like. So we've got all of the header information that you need on any normal assignment. And then we've got little titles that sort of let me know what each piece is. So we have the reflection, and you'll notice that the reflection is here, and it talks about, what was going on for this student and how they had been doing, better so far by that point. After that, we have the rough drafts. So this is the rough draft of the first essay. And if we scroll through, then we have the rough draft of the second essay. So this student decided to include 2 rough drafts. Completely fine to do that. You don't have to, but you can. And after that, then we have the final draft. So we've got the final draft of essay 2, so that I can see and sort of compare what the rough draft looked like compared to what the final draft looked like. And when I read through these, I'm able to go through and see if the student said, I got better at forming paragraphs. Then in their rough draft, maybe the paragraphs are a little bit rough, but by the time they got to that final draft, those paragraphs are getting a little bit better. And that's why we include both. Okay, so that is what your midterm portfolio is going to look like. This is the rubric that I use to grade the midterm portfolio. So first, the basic requirements, you have 20 points possible there. You can earn 20 points here by including all of the right pieces, right? You need to have that reflective essay, the reflective cover letter, which is the 2 pages where you're talking about, here's what I've learned and gotten better at so far. And then you should also have those writing samples. So that's where you just copy and paste your rough draft and your final draft of your essay or essays. So make sure that those are there, and that's 20 points. Then you have 15 points possible for your reflection. Reflective essay, which is this, the first couple pages there, meets the page length requirements and clearly explains all of those things that you're getting better at in the semester so far. Reading and writing strategies, you have 15 points available there. So this is just where you get credit for making sure that you're kind of staying on topic as you're discussing the things that you are getting better at. So we want to make sure that we're focused on things that have to do with academics, right? Like maybe you also learned how to do amazing eyeliner or got better at skateboarding throughout the semester, and that's wonderful, but it's not necessarily the kind of thing that you're going to talk about in your portfolio. So you get some points here for being reflective and for making sure that you're talking about, things that you've learned so far. But you also get some points here for staying on topic and making sure that you're talking about things that have to do with reading and writing. And remember here, you can also talk about things that have to do with just, being a student in general. So, like I mentioned, if you've gotten better at managing your time or asking for help or collaborating with others, that kind of stuff definitely belongs in here also, because those things are part of reading and writing well also. Okay, so that is the rubric. This is the sample one. So you can look at what a sample portfolio looks like. And then all of your specifics and everything you need are here. So hopefully you can see that this midterm portfolio that we're going to be doing is, I think, a lot less scary than like a big midterm exam, right? Because it's kind of hard to mess this up as long as you include the things that are asked for and you look at what you're doing well so far this semester, and it gives you a chance to sort of pat yourself on the back. Okay, so that is the midterm portfolio. As always, if you have any questions about this, please reach out to me early so that I can help you and answer any of those questions that you might have. Come to my office hours, chat with somebody in your group, and or chat with a tutor.